start with some meditation, so maybe we don't need that. A short meditation, just to generate the motivation mainly. Since we're going to continue a little bit more with subject of Guru devotion, we can start with some verses that Lama Tsongkhapa quotes from something called Ratnolka Dharani, which I've never heard of.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Ratnolka Dharani, it's page 80 in the Great Treatise, volume 1, top of the page. He says, we're talking of the root now, the root of Guru devotion, training in faith, which he calls the root. Faith is the prerequisite of all good qualities, a procreator of them like a mother, who then protects and increases them. It clears away doubts, frees you from the four rivers of ignorance, attachment, craving and wrong views, and establishes you in the prosperous city of happiness and goodness. Faith cuts through gloom and clarifies the mind. It eliminates pride and is the root of respect. It is a jewel and a treasure. Like hands, it is the basis of gathering virtue, and it is the best of feet for going to liberation. And from the 10 Teaching Sutra, Dasa Dharmaka Sutra, Tsongkhapa quotes that, saying that faith is the best of vehicles, definitely delivering you into Buddhahood. Therefore, persons of intelligence rely on the guidance of faith. Virtues will not arise in people who have no faith, just as green sprouts do not grow from seeds scorched by fire. So again, we have to realize that faith isn't blind faith. He's not saying faith is for those of less intelligence. So therefore they need faith to make up for lack of intelligence or reasoning capability. He doesn't say that. He says persons of intelligence rely on the guidance of faith. And as we know, there are different kinds of faith. There's the faith arising from adoration. There's the faith arising from reasoning. Yeah, the faith of conviction, when we begin to study and meditate and reflect and begin to develop some qualities, then real conviction arises in the teachings of Lord Buddha. So we need to reflect on why we need faith. What is faith? Tsongkhapa says there's different kinds. There's faith in the three jewels, faith in karma, faith in the Four Noble Truths. However, here we're speaking of faith in the Guru, he says. So with regard to how disciples should view their gurus, Tsongkhapa quotes another text which says that if you would ask how disciples should view masters, then I would answer that they should view them just as they view the Bhagavan. view the Buddha, in other words. So if the disciples view their masters in this way, they will cultivate virtues, they will become Buddhas and benefit the entire world. So there's a long explanation, there's a long discussion of this. I'm sure some of you know who looked at the Lamrim, on how we need to not see faults in the Guru, but to emphasize the good qualities, and to see the faults simply as a reflection of our own negative mind, of a projection of our own negativity, unwholesomeness. When you recognize someone to be a Buddha, he says, you'll not discern faults in that person, you'll pay attention to his or her good qualities. Therefore, cast aside your conception of faults and train yourself to discern the Guru's good qualities. You see, maybe the Guru isn't a totally enlightened person yet, maybe they have some faults, but by focusing on their faults, what will we gain? What will we benefit from that? We will lose faith. We will lose faith not only in the teacher but in the teachings, because of something that may be even quite minor, and therefore lose the benefits of having faith in the teachings and in the teacher. There's the story, there's so many stories, all of you know the story of the dog's tooth, right, that was brought back by the son who failed to bring back an actual relic of the Buddha from Lhasa or whatever, brought it back for his mother, carefully wrapped up as though it were actually a relic of the Buddha, which she had requested. She regarded it in that way. She had great faith that this is an actual relic of Lord Buddha that my son has brought back, even though it was a dog's tooth. And then by praying to it, keeping it very carefully and on the altar obviously, and regarding it with tremendous faith and reverence, then she got the blessings of the Buddha from that tooth, which shows that it's so much there, so much depends on the subjective mind, does it not? When, if one of our lamas brought, say, a tooth in here and said, this is a relic of Lord Buddha, which I received from such and such high lama, and so forth, even if it wasn't, we would have tremendous faith based on faith in our Guru, and then we would start getting, benefits from that dog's tooth or whatever it was, or some part of an ordinary human. We'd get benefits too. It's said that I think for the lady, lights began to emanate from the tooth or something. I mean, she obviously had incredible faith, like so many old Tibetan ladies do have. But this shows that it depends. Whatever we project onto the object, we will get that kind of benefit or demerit. So Devadatta, the Buddha's cousin, who was full of jealousy and so forth, he only saw faults in the Buddha. There's one or two other people, it said, who saw so many faults in Lord Buddha, so they didn't get any benefit from the Buddha's teachings. They only generated non-virtue. It's for our sake that we should see good qualities in the Guru and not seize upon the faults. We're doing it for our own sake, not for the sake of the Guru. So there are disadvantages in seeing faults and many advantages in seeing only good qualities. This is from the Cloud of Jewels Sutra. When you rely on the Guru, your virtue increases, your non-virtue decreases. Understanding this, develop the idea that your abbot is the teacher, whether he or she is greatly or slightly learned, knowledgeable or not, or has kept ethical discipline or faulty discipline. Just as you have a liking for and faith in the teacher, so too you should have a liking for and faith in the abbot. Develop reverence for your masters and serve them. Think that you will complete the collections that lead to enlightenment and eliminate the afflictions that you still have in dependence upon this practice. Then you will obtain pleasure and joy. So then there is, if one reads Pabonka Rinpoche and others, then there's extensive descriptions of why we can begin to stop believing in our negative conceptions of the Guru. Seeing how our mind is so full of garbage, basically, distracting thoughts and so on and so forth. It's very hard for us to see anybody as pure, as good. We will always see faults. We will always latch on to faults in others. That's just the tendency of our mind to do that. So it's not surprising that even with our teachers, we're going to see faults. But we have to cut that mind. We have to see how it's false. We have to see how it's not doing us any good whatsoever. Then we need to remember the teacher's kindness and gain respect in that way. So develop the following idea with respect to teachers. So this is a kind of analytical meditation here in the 10 Teaching Sutra. I have wandered for a long time through cyclic existence and they search for me. The teachers search for me. I have been asleep, having been obscured by delusion for a long time, and they wake me up. They pull me out of the depths of the ocean of existence. I've entered a bad path and they reveal the good path to me. They release me from being bound in the prison of existence. I've been worn out by illness for a long time and they are my doctors. They are like rain clouds that put out my blazing fire of attachment and the like. And then from the Gandhavyuha, similar quotes. So they cause me to enter the ocean of reality sphere. They show me the sea of past, present and future phenomena. They reveal to me the circle of the noble beings' assembly. The teachers increase all my virtues. Remembering this, you will weep. This is one of the bodhisattvas speaking to Sudana, the noble Sudana in that sutra, who goes from one bodhisattva to another, receiving teachings from the Gandhavyuha. It's part of the Flower Adornment Sutra, very vast sutra, apparently. So, wonderful quotations. That's the great thing about Tsongkhapa's text. There's so many amazing quotations. So one should remember the teacher's kindness again and again. I mean, those of us who work in centers, we have a lot of occasion to remember the teacher's kindness, guiding us, helping us. There are many times working in Dharma centers, we have difficult periods. Many challenges arise, and then the teacher often, with a few words, or sent to us, or coming to visit, and giving advice, giving very kind advice, then relieving one's anxieties, really helping tremendously to work with a particular situation or problem. I've had these kind of experiences with my teachers. I haven't had any other kind of experiences, but these experiences where the teacher really helps one, really relieves one's anxiety and guides one, these experiences one has had. So it's only very kind and not intelligent, very wise, clairvoyant teachers can do this. They can save us going down the wrong path, help us tremendously not to waste time. And just a small example, when I first took the Kopan course in Nepal, so then at the end of the course, I went to see Lama Zopa Rinpoche. I was very new that time, just kind of entered the Dharma a few years before. Not entered the Dharma, because entered the Dharma makes it sound like one's entered some kind of path, but I'd started receiving Dharma teachings. And so I went up into Rinpoche's room in the old small Gompa at Kopan, and said something very stupid. First of all, I said, "Oh, Rinpoche, you have special ability to guide me and special powers, so I have this question." And he just laughed, this new person saying these things, which don't need to be said that way. Anyway, so I asked him, Rinpoche, is it better to stay in India? Or what should I do? Or go back to the West? I was in two minds after the Kapan course. And he said it's of, he checked, he has his way of checking things, right? And he said it's of medium benefit to stay in India and better to go back to England for the time being and go and study. And he told me where to go and study. So I did that, and I feel, yeah, that was very beneficial. Of course, after some time, things changed, and then Lama Yeshe told me to come back to India, which is also wonderful. It was just the right time. But by sending me back to England to work and to study, I was able to take many teachings in a regular, systematic, daily way from very good teachers, including Geshe Jampa Tekchok, who became abbot of Sarajay. So, you know, the Lama can guide because he knows. I mean, he wouldn't have sent me back to England if he thought I wouldn't benefit from it, or if he thought I didn't have any connection perhaps with the teachers at that institute. But he knew that I did, and he knew that I would benefit in some way. And I also worked, so I was able to help that center, which at that time was Lama's the Lama's center. So, you know, if I'd stayed in India, out of enthusiasm for the Dharma and thinking, oh, you know, India is the land of Dharma, and I've done the Kopan course, now I should stay in India, it'll be the best thing for me, no doubt. Well, it would have been, according to Rinpoche, of some benefit, middling benefit, but not of greater benefit for myself, and hopefully then for others later too. So, you know, the Lama can help us make our life most meaningful, most beneficial. And that's what Rinpoche, you know, when Rinpoche gives advice or, you know, makes observations, he'll say, you know, there's little benefit or middling benefit, the highest benefit. Highest benefit meaning all round, you know, kind of, it's the highest benefit that you do this or don't do that, you know. So, I mean, imagine. Of course, it can make one quite lazy sometimes. One could go and ask the Lama endless questions and begin to rely perhaps overmuch. But the point is with important, sincere questions about what to practice or, you know, where to go and study, these kind of things, important things, then the Lama can help us so much. A realized guru can help so much. No one else can help like that, infallibly like that. As Rinpoche said sometimes, you know, I mean, how can you really help somebody if you don't have clairvoyance, if you don't really have some insight into that person and into the future and so on and so forth? If you don't have that ability of mind, then our capacity to benefit others goes down so much. We just can't help people so much. So anyway, realized gurus, we should, you know, remember their kindness and see that without that, where would we be? You know, where would we be? If I hadn't met the teachers in England, where would I be? Maybe working in the civil service in London or something. Wow, can you imagine? Having to do that, having to work for a government that one wouldn't necessarily, you know, agree with in their policies. It would be horrible. Of course, I'd be making some good money, more than I make at Tushita, but I don't think I'd be happy. So the Lama really, one has to feel so much respect and want to repay their kindness. So we repay their kindness by, you know, offering service, by offering material things, and by practicing the Dharma. And they're most happy when we practice the Dharma. Also, of course, offering service is a way of practicing the Dharma in a way, because you then, because of the mind training that happens when we serve others, and also because we provide the ability, facilities for others to practice Dharma. So then all these things are the main way to repay the kindness of the Guru. In brief, you must strive to achieve what pleases your Gurus and eliminate what displeases them. That's Lama Tsongkhapa's short statement after he's quoted Ashwagosha's famous 50 verses on the Guru. And Ashwagosha himself said, "What need is there to say much here? Do whatever pleases your Gurus, eliminate all that displeases them. Analyzing this, strive at it. Once you've understood Vajradhara's statement that attainments follow proper reliance on the Master, then thoroughly please your Gurus in all things." So rely by way of respect, material things, service, and practice, according to Maitreya's ornament, the Mahayana Sutras.